half the satellites in orbit around the Earth are actually ghosts. So satellites which have outlived their useful life, but they're still in orbit and will continue to be there for maybe hundreds more years. It's really interesting to think about the lives of these machines, what they're kind of doing in that sort of afterlife, which may be like hundreds of years long, and we will never see them again. The orbit around the Earth is just like this Wild West space above our heads, but out of sight and to a large extent out of mind. It's a completely or almost entirely ungovernable space. So there are no exact precise figures for how many satellites, man-made satellites there are in orbit. I have been sending images like these sort of affectionate postcards up into space, transmitting them out via radio signals. My name is Nye Thompson and I'm an artist. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, but my material is primarily digital. Back in the sort of early mid-90s when all of these things were becoming possible, and it was such a new frontier full of new ways of making art, that became my way of engaging with the world. So I became very interested in the idea of machines developing agency and then how they might kind of put together their own sort of view of the world. The whole idea of the machine gaze is just so interesting because it provides a completely new way of looking at the familiar. It's a kind of thread, I think, that goes through pretty much all of my work, certainly all my sort of more recent work. And it's really about the way that we are teaching machines to look at and analyse the world. The film that I made with Ubermorgen and Invited is precisely about that. It's about a machine network that accidentally comes into being, and it's watching the world and trying to make sense of it. INSULAE is a digitally reconstructed journey around the British coastal waters created from satellite imagery. That tension between things that, you could look at a bit of INSULAE, and if you got the right bit, you might just think it was drone footage going across the water, and then you come to other bits and you're like, clearly it's not, it's something stranger than that. And I like that tension between this sort of hyper-real type imagery and the kind of the artificiality of it. What you actually have is strange wakes of boats, or you will see a wind turbine in mid-spin. So you get all these kind of odd frozen moments of action. It was made during the Brexit vote fiasco, and the drawing itself actually represents that border and that kind of sense of cutting itself off from the rest of Europe. And I was interested in that idea of this powerful political notion of the border and then the indifference of the water underneath.